Hi guys, it's Yasmin. I'm going to be doing a video all about interviews. Before we go into the questions, I'll just say a few general things about interviews. So I got to Oxford a day early, and then there's like a notice board outside the JCR, which is the junior common room, with details about where to meet and everything, and the interview timetable. So every student applying for a subject is given a specific time where they need to be at the room where the interviews are held. So I'd advise being there 10 minutes before, just to be safe. So on the day that the interviews began, the tutor at my college brought all of us into one room, all of us human scientists, and then he and another tutor just talked to us for about 10 minutes, just saying, don't be too nervous. We want to interview all of you. You're here because you're good enough to be here. Now we just want to get to know you more. They outlined how the interviews would work in terms of the format, and they just helped to calm our nerves because they were very friendly about everything. They made us feel a bit more comfortable with each other and with the interview experience as a whole, and they were really nice. So after that, I just hung around college. I went to explore the city a bit. Then I had my interviews. As a human scientist, you have 2 interviews, one at the college you applied to and one at a different college, and it's randomly selected. So I took the time to check out where that other college was because it was a bit far from mine. Yeah, but I'd say the interview experience as a whole is one of a kind. I don't know if it's completely representative of the tutorial experience. We can talk about that later, but the interview experience is something special, and I really enjoyed my experience there. I know you might be shy and scared to make friends and explore the college, but do take that opportunity because you never know, you might have the opportunity again, but you might not, and it's definitely something special. So I'm currently in London, and yesterday I met up with a girl that I met at interviews, and we're still good friends. So really fully embrace the interview experience because you're going to be meeting people from all walks of life, from all over the world, all with amazing things to share, and you can learn so much from each other. Take the time to explore the Christmas market because there's this wonderful Christmas market on Broad Street during the interview season. So take advantage of that. Also, a lot of the museums, no, all the museums are free, so they're fascinating to go around. And your interview is only 1 hour a day. Not even an hour, 20 minutes. I can't remember, but it doesn't take up that much time in your day. So do take the chance to explore Oxford because it's beautiful. The interview is one part of the application process. It is important because you are essentially meeting the people who will be teaching you, but don't fret if it doesn't go well. Some of my friends I know thought their interviews went terribly and they ended up at Oxford, so don't dwell too much on the interview post-interview. So first question, do applicants who do Skype interviews have a lower chance for offers? No. You have an equal chance at getting an offer. The university website maintains this, and I have a lot of friends, mainly international friends, who did get into Oxford and they did a Skype interview, so I don't think there's a big difference. But of course there are some things that you can get in real life that might be harder to get through a screen, such as reading body language, but I don't think this is enough to significantly impact your chances of getting in. Next question, what should I say when they ask if I have any questions? If you have any questions, ask them. If you don't ask them. I do suggest, if you want to have some questions prepared, that you go and look at your course description and the course outline so you can see what modules you'll be taking, and some questions might arise from looking at that. I think I did ask some questions that came to my mind when I was in the interview, but I did think to myself, if I don't have any questions, I'm just going to say, I don't have any questions at this point, but if I do, can I email you? And I did use that line in one of my interviews, and they were like, yeah, sure. But yeah. Next question. Hi, I didn't take biology and I have an interview soon. What are the topics you'd recommend going over? Okay, I'm guessing you're applying for human sciences. I'd say go over the human biology side of things, so physiology, ecology, evolution, genetics, just going over the basics, so meiosis, energy cycles in an environment, that kind of thing. You might also find it useful to look at the tutors who will be interviewing you because they often have specialities in specific fields, and I think they'd be likely to ask you questions in those fields. But don't see this as any kind of hack, because I can't guarantee what they're going to ask, and it could be something completely different and not related to what they're doing. What to wear to an interview. Wear whatever makes you comfortable. Honestly, when I was there, I saw people wearing suits. I also saw people wearing jeans and sweaters. It really doesn't matter as long as you're comfortable and you feel that you're best representing yourself.
I would say that wear whatever you're comfortable with, but make sure it's fairly formal. I would say a good piece of advice would be is wear something that you would wear to a work experience at a hospital. This is for medicine, because I think that you have to be fairly presentable as a medical student. I basically wore a dress and a cardigan for my interviews, but it doesn't really matter what you wear, to be honest.
Have you got any specific advice for a gap year chem applicant? So I asked some of my friends who do chemistry whether they know any gap year students, and they did not know any gap year students, so my advice I don't think would be the most helpful, but I do have some gap year friends. They seem fine, you know, they're at Oxford now. I personally think that if you did take a gap year, just because it's a more unconventional route, make sure you know why you took that gap year, whether it's financial or personal, like to be with family, or a desire for experiences. Just know why you took that gap year, so that if they ask you, you have an answer prepared for that.
How do you prepare for interviews, specifically medicine interviews? So I would say it's quite difficult to prepare because the questions are so varied and you don't know what kind of questions you might get. But I would say a good thing to do is just keep aware of the news, the health news, what's happening in science, just read about what you're interested in, and also know your personal statement pretty well. So if you've mentioned any books, any diseases, then you should know those quite well, because if it's in your personal statement, they will expect you to know a lot about it. But the best thing I would say is try to practice talking out loud about things that I'm familiar with, whether it's to yourself or to a friend. I think it's really good to get into that habit. So the next question was, what kind of questions were I asked for my medicine interview? Basically, I was asked a wide range of questions, like some medical ethics questions. I was given some scenarios and asked to talk about them. I was asked some biology questions as well. It was really varied, actually. And basically most of them I hadn't studied the subject at A-level, so I had to sort of guess and make stuff up, basically. But my advice would be just think out loud and try to say something at least, even if you don't know, because it's supposed to be a conversation, so the interview will help you. The last question was, how was my experience at Medicine at Queen's interview? I had a really good experience, actually. They went quite well, which is unlike what you hear. Those horror stories about how if your interview goes really badly, then actually it means you get in. But I found that my interviews were pretty okay. Now, I thought they were pretty enjoyable, but obviously really exhilarating. Yeah, so good luck for interviews, and if you have any more questions, then let us know.